Hello and welcome to In Our Community. My name is Liz Holtz and I'll be your host for today's show. And I have a very special guest with me today, Liz Kane, who is the founder and executive director of the Shire House in San Jose. Welcome, Liz.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here today because I think the program that you have in San Jose is very unique and also very important for people to know about. So why don't we start off by having you explain a little bit about what is Shire House?
Shire House is a residential program for young adults on the autism spectrum. Our young adults are 18 through 28, primarily right out of high school or failure to launch age group. And we also have other services. For example, right now on Friday night, we have a social where other young adults come and start creating those friendships and being part of a community, and just having a place to go to and giving their parents a time to rest,
some time to themselves.
Yes.
That's very cool. So now tell us a little bit, because you are the founder of Shire House. What made you put this nonprofit together?
Well, my son, he's high functioning on the spectrum. When you're on the autism spectrum going through school, you either graduate with a diploma or a certificate. And what we learned the day he graduated with a diploma was that all of the supportive services he'd been receiving up to that point dropped that day. And so we were looking for other services to take the place of the ones he'd had in school, from a psychiatrist to a therapist to a behaviorist, and things to do. And we really couldn't find, it was difficult to find something that would fill that need. And then that's where the idea was born. And my son also wanted to go to college, and I wanted him to have the college dorm experience. And so our residence is set up like a college dorm. It's co-ed. The rules are age appropriate. Their curfews are age appropriate. We try and set it up as much as we can as a college dorm where they can come and be with us while they're going to college. Not all of them go to college, but our goal is to encourage them to go to college. But and so they're living both. They're getting that support, and then they're still going to school.
So you basically provide like a residential facility for young adults on the autism spectrum while they're either going to school full-time, working full-time, or working part-time and going to college part-time.
Yes.
And as part of that experience and stuff, you also have supportive services that you offer within the house to kind of help support them.
Yes.
And stuff. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yes. Well, I did want to mention that when a client moves into Shire House, they have already agreed that they are either going to work or go to school or part-time of both. So that needs to be agreed upon before they become a client. And then we support them behaviorally, emotionally, and socially. And that could mean from helping them learn to manage. The goal is for them to become self-manageable in every area of their life. They all reach a particular level of self-management, some more than others, and then that's where the parents and us decide, what's next, because we are transitional. They're passing through as they learn to get on their own feet, behaviorally, emotionally, and socially. So the Friday night is part of the social component, and then our social mentors are every day, where we point out in a respectful, private way some social skills that they might need to work on or strengthen or even incorporate into their life. Behaviorally could be from learning to live with a group of people that they might not agree with politically or religiously, or in other areas of life, because sometimes our clients, they're very highly intelligent, so they like to tell you what they're thinking, and very black and white. So it's very important that they learn to get along.
Gray.
Yes, and be okay about it.
Yeah.
And learn to live with it.
And then you also offer assistance, like with if they are going to school and stuff, if they're having problems with their, understanding their educational materials. I understand that you have mentors on staff that will kind of help them a little bit, kind of guide them.
Yes. So if they choose to take the academic route, we have an academic support staff that she guides them anything related to being a student, from registering to picking a class based on their interests and skills and what their goals are academically, to meeting with them and the counselor so that she knows, those conversations and knows what to do or not do and so forth, and how to look for resources. Helps them apply to the special needs department at the college that they're going to. And then she helps them we do a practice run. Okay, your class tomorrow let's go to the school today and walk you to what classroom you're going to be, if they need that help. Some of our clients are very good about, I can find that classroom, I don't need that help. So we step in when we feel they need it, or they ask us to provide that support, to reading the syllabus, to breaking the semester down.
And then you also, so in a way, you're like a transitional housing.
Yes, we are.
Stuff in that they're getting away from their parents.
Yes.
Who have probably, not only, supported and cared for them all their lives, but parents tend to be very protective, as we know.
Yes.
With their children and kind of an old-fashioned term, but mollycoddle them a bit and stuff. And this kind of starts building on the skills that they need to be able to move on and move in to a independent living situation at some point.
Right.
So, in addition to that, you mentioned that you help them with the self-management of their behaviors. Can you tell us a bit about, what types of things that might entail?
Well, some of our clients might have behaviors that are intruding into other people's lives. Up to this point, it's been intruding into their family's life, their mothers, their fathers, their siblings. And it's a different dynamic when you're at home. It's like, well, I'm at home, but now you're not at home. And so the rest of society is telling you, you can't go around yelling at people. You can't go around imposing your view. Or you can't, it's not a good idea to just, I don't want to work, I don't want to go to school, I don't know what I want to do with my life, so I'll just stay in bed all day. So we help them see how their behaviors are not taking them to their goals. So that's one of the first things we do when they move in, is help them identify, and sometimes they already know what their goals are, from finding a girlfriend to going to college, having this particular degree, or not going to school and just having a job. Sometimes they think they're the next Steve Jobs, and not everyone is going to be a Steve Jobs.
Right.
So it's bringing that level of expectation down to reality, and then being okay with that, because that can be in itself, discouraging or anxiety, like, oh my God, I have these plans, and now you're telling me that, and so kind of helping them, be okay with what their life is going to look like, and still be a good life that they can be okay about.
Well, or maybe even, like you said, they want to be the next Steve Jobs, but they don't know how to use a computer. Or they want to be a rocket scientist, and you say, well, but then you actually need to learn about rockets, and you need to learn about propulsion, and you need to learn about these things. And those are the types of things, and there's engineering and all these things involved.
Right.
You may want to consider then going to school. Why don't you try taking a class and see how it goes?
For the most part, our clients are already very knowledgeable about a particular subject, so they might know everything related to rocket science, but they are having trouble managing a class on rocket science because the organizational skills, the executive functioning of getting up and attending the class and just being able to meet all of the deadlines in that class and the reports or the homeworks, that's what's delaying them.
Okay.
It's not the subject matter, it's everything that's involved to get there. Is like, I want to eat, but I don't want to go to the grocery store, I don't want to cook, and that just doesn't happen. You have to take steps in order for that food to be in front of you.
Very cool. So, and how many young adults do you have in Shire House at any given time?
We can have up to 9. Right now we are full, and this summer we've transitioned 2 clients out of Shire House, but we had somebody come in right away, so we do have a small waiting list and we've only been full. We're in our 6th year, but we've only been full for a year.
Okay.
Before that, it was 4, 5, 6 clients, and so this year has been challenging because we have the same staff, yet we have
a full house.
3 more clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things is when kids or young adults rather come to Shire House, how long do they typically stay?
We are month to month for different reasons. The shortest we've had is 8 months, and the longest we've had is a little bit over 2 years.
Okay.
Usually the ones that are going to need to be there longer, the team, which is the parents and us, we kind of already know that based on the paperwork we've been, all the reports that we've read and what the parents tell us, and so that's kind of already known. That they're going to be there a while. But for the most part, our goal is to help them reach their level of self-management as soon as possible. And then another thing we ask for when they first come in is, where do you see yourself after Shire House? So that's already in the thought process as you're going through. You're on your way to a college dorm or on your own apartment or shared housing.
So, and I understand in addition to the academic support and the behavioral support, that you also have some physical therapy or physical fitness counselor that comes in and works with them? We
have a personal trainer that comes in. He also has a mental health background. He works at another facility for autism related services. But he's also a personal trainer on the side. So we connected through a family that had used him, and he comes and puts our young adults on an activity plan. Whether it's I only like skateboarding. Okay, let's learn to be the best skateboarder you can be, or weightlifting, or just walking, but some sort of activity where you're out and being active. And not constantly on a computer and or playing video games. Right. Get some sunshine. So, well, vitamin D never hurt anybody, right? Right. So, other types of things that I imagine that you come across, like you mentioned, sometimes, young adults will get to a point where, they, I don't want to go to work today, I don't want to go to school today, I just want to stay in bed. So I would imagine some of them have issues with self-esteem, maybe depression. Yes, many of our clients have what we call underlying issues, from depression to anxiety to the lesser of the bipolars. And OCD or oppositional defiance or anger, just different issues. And so us, along with their therapists and their psychiatrists, we have a plan. The client agrees that we can be part of that team, that we can talk to their psychiatrist or go into the session with them or go into the session with their therapist, so that we are all, know what the issues are that we're all working on at the same time. And that kind of helps you when they're at Shire House to support, the cognitive behavioral therapy that maybe their psychiatrist or therapist has recommended, so that remember, you're not supposed to do that, and you can kind of help guide them and keep them
in a forward motion.
Right. And sometimes they might bring up a subject where we say, this is a subject that you talk to your psychiatrist about, or this is a subject you talk to your therapist about. And then we follow up, did you talk to your therapist about it? And if, there's a time lapse where we don't see that it's happening, then we go in to the appointment with them and bring the subject up.
Okay. And what are some of the biggest challenges you find, at Shire House in working with these young adults?
It's been some clients that have moved in and then they've presented like they really wanted to be there, and then as soon as their parents step out the door, it's like, nope, you're not getting me to move. And that's why another reason why we're month to month. So if after a whole month you're still refusing to come out of your room and participate in what we have for you to do, then we don't want to waste your parents' money.
Right.
So we ask them to leave. Another challenge is sometimes it's getting the parents to understand that this is a process. They're not going to be at their job at Apple in 2 weeks. It's it's going to take time to get them up to their particular level of self-management, and to let us give us time to present that whether we are of use to them or not. And that's another reason why we're month to month, so that they feel like they're paying for something and getting something back, and we feel like we're actually helping.
So you refer to the members of your staff as social mentors.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about why you call them that?
Well, it's either that or peer mentors, but we just kind of stuck to social mentors. But basically, all our social mentors have been or are studying within the behavioral sciences. Our program director, Frances, she already finished school. So she's the one that manages everyone's program. And then our other mentors are, one of them are also already finished school, and then the other ones are still going to school. But they're all studying within that field. So it's a good place for them to see if, get that experience and also see if that's really what they want to do.
And then, the mentors are also a similar age to your clients as well.
Yes, they are.
Oh, yes, yeah. So it's almost like they're all on the same, social level.
Yes, they know the same topics that they are talking about at that age, from musicians to politics to books to movies and things like that.
And then you mentioned, you have these Friday night get-togethers at Shire House.
Yes.
And staff, and that is, you basically open your doors.
Yes.
To other similarly aged kids.
Yes.
Or young adults rather, to come and interact with the clients at Shire House.
Yes. So we actually started that, I think 2 months after we opened our doors. And, we just had one mom and one son and her son show up. And now we can have between 18 to 30 young adults coming every Friday. They play board games or video games, and because they're so good in the computers, they're always adding the latest way to play a video game, with on the huge TV they have 4 people and and now they're receiving a board game on their phone.
Right.
So and we let them, I don't interfere with that. They keep it interesting and fun for the young adults.
Well, but that's kind of nice, because then you get kids that are outside the program.
Yes.
Who get to come in and kind of see, more about the program. That maybe, when they get a little older, it might be appropriate for them, or they may be kind of like on the fence as to whether, this is a way to help them transition.
Yes.
Or it may be even, young adults that have gone through the program and now come back because they like the interaction.
Yes, we have clients that have transitioned out that still come to the social, and it also serves other purposes. So if If someone is local and they're interested in their young adult being a Shire House client, we ask them to start coming to the Friday socials so that we can get to know them and they get to know us. And then it's also a time to come do a tour, because then everybody thinks you're a guest. They don't know that you're there to spy on everything. And then we also, it's the only time that we let high schoolers, 17 years old, come and be part of the group. The rest of the time we're really strict about being 18 and over. And then it's also a time when high schoolers can come do their volunteer hours. So it's now serving a variety of purposes.
So, and I know you mentioned that you have a community partner called Expandability, which is a program that's run by the Goodwill.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that partnership?
Well, Expandability has a component to their program where they bring in young adults from the community and out of state to come do where companies come and they put them through workshops and a series of tests to see if they're hireable for those particular companies. How we help them is we provide the housing if we have available beds, and so that way they are getting the social part of not just, normally they would have stayed at a extended hotel, extended stay, and just be there the whole weekend without any friends or anything to do.
Or knowing anybody.
Right. So now they can come stay with us and be part of that program.
Or I imagine even if, for example, you didn't have a room available for them, they could do that, but they could come and join you for the Friday night social, and kind of, have a chance to meet other people in the area.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and stuff, and do some socialization rather than being, like stuck in a hotel.
Right. Right.
Oh, yeah, and stuff.
And then some decide to stay in the Bay Area because they feel like they found a community. They're not coming completely. They might have already been thinking of coming to the Bay Area, but they had no connections, no friends or anyone to connect with as soon as they got here.
Well, and I mean, certainly moving to another state, a whole other state is frightening enough for most people at a young age.
Right.
But even probably more challenging for young adults that are, on the autistic spectrum.
Right.
Because here's an unknown, and, that could cause anxiety. And just knowing that there is, are groups, that can help support them, or, a place where they can go and hang on a Friday night and make friends and not feel so alone.
Exactly.
Would be very important for them.
Right.
So then when clients transition out of Shire House, where do they go?
Well, some go to a college dorm, and then some move to their own apartment. It's understood that they are not going back home, and it just defeats the purpose of them coming in through Shire House. So it takes them a while to accept that. But for the most part, they prefer to live with other people, so that's where our shared housing comes in. And that is one of our challenges, is finding landlords that are willing to rent to us. And we hold the lease, and then we manage the house. And we combine our clients, our former clients, or even there are some young adults that don't need to go through our program, but they still need some support, and the parents are encouraged that there's going to be some sort of supervision at some level. They're not completely moving their child out without any guidance at all. So at our other house, we call that our shared housing, and there's 3 boys live there. They're what we call self-manageable, and then they get up and they go to school and they go to work, they drive, they work. They each need to be buying their own groceries and clothes and what we call toys, like the phone and things like that. The parents still support them at some level financially, but the goal is to, on a regular basis, start taking responsibility for some of the finances that their parents and finish school if that's what they're doing, or continue to do a good job at the job that whatever job it is that they're doing.
Well, that's neat. And then does somebody from Shire House then kind of periodically look in on them and make sure that everything's doing well? Or
Yes, we go in on a hourly basis, and to check that the house is in order. The common area needs to be kept clean, and they all have chores. You know, who's doing the dishwasher, who's doing the counters, the floors, things like that, and that they're doing their own bathrooms. It was a lot of fun teaching them how to and that, yeah, and that's where we do most of those type of things, is teaching them more detailed care of the home type
Very
thing.
cool. So, Liz, one of the questions that I would have is, you know, as we wrap up, if you know, people, you know, what would be one particular piece of advice that you would give parents that have a high-functioning young adults that are on the autism scale?
I think what I hear that often, and this is where I would say this, is the parents saying, "Oh, my son or daughter doesn't need to go to Shire House. They're already working. They're already going to school." You know, it's them moving them out of the house. So again, that's another reason we're month to month is creating that transition, you know, without the fear and the anxiety, and you know, why are they still at home then at 26 years old? You know, even though they're working and going, you know, and it's to encourage them just to gently move them out while they're still around as a parent, you know, not wait till, you know, an emergency or a disaster.
Right,
you know,
right. So it's not so much of a shock.
Right, because our young adults change is very difficult for them, and it's a process. So that's just another of the changes that we all have to do, is move out.
And then if people want to get more information about Shire House, how do they contact you?
The best way is by email, and even then it's because I'm part of the day-to-day staff as well, and but that's probably the fastest way to get you know, connected, is through info@shirehouse.org.
Great. And thank you for coming on the show.
You're very welcome.
It's been wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And I hope that our guests will, our audience will take a look into this information if they have the need.